Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to another Gemstone Legends video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the new hero Naderu with my tips for how to build him and therefore how to succeed in this contest right now. So if you're not aware of what I'm talking about with the contest, you gotta be. They're giving away either an iPhone 13 Pro or Samsung Galaxy S21 to first prize with $100 gift card for second and third prize. So I'll put a link in the description of this video explaining how to get involved with that. But basically the main thing you want to do right now is log into your game, go into your inbox, enter the code contest_SPOCK, CONTEST_SPOCK. That will get you in the contest. Go in your events tab and you'll see an event called Naderu's Challenge. So get started with that. I'll pause here for 1 second, give you time to do that if you haven't already. And if you have, sit tight for a second and we'll get to this video. Before we get to this video, if you haven't checked out Gemstone Legends yet, come check it out. There are, no joke, thousands of players from Empires and Puzzles that have come over already, and for good reason. Simply put, it's a really fun game with some big advantages over Empires and Puzzles. We both know that the players that join these games earliest are some of the most dominant players. And this game is starting to really take off, so the longer you wait, the more you miss out on. Not only can you support the channel by using the download link in the description of this video, or by scanning the QR code on your screen, but doing so will also give you a free $50 starter bonus with an epic hero, gems, and gold coins, all for free just by using the link or QR code provided. And then when you start, you'll gain access to beginner events exclusively for players who use the link or QR code provided that will give you another strong epic hero, a set of 5-star legendary equipment, and a platinum scroll for another guaranteed epic or legendary hero. Lastly, I have created a bunch of videos in a Gemstone Legends playlist on my YouTube channel to make learning this game as easy and fun as possible. So hit that download link in the description and get started with one of the most fun and deep Match 3 RPGs. There's a great community in Gemstone Legends. It has some huge advantages over Empires and Puzzles. And overall, I think you guys are really going to like it. Okay, so as you are aware at this point, the goal of this contest is to get the most damage with Naderu in one attack on the boss for the event. So it's kind of like a raid boss hit and you're going for the top score. Only damage from him counts. So your entire team is going to be built around setting him up for maximum success. So we're going to look at what he's capable of. And I'll give some suggestions for team composition as well as how to build him and what things to focus on. So basically my perspective on how to do the best you can in this contest, and hopefully that helps get closer to winning that first prize. So, excuse me, let's look at his special skill first and kind of see what we're dealing with here. Deals damage to a single enemy based on attack. So we're seeing the max level there. It starts at 333%. Huge gain of, 82%, going up to 415. That is more than some epic heroes gain. So I really think that he's an epic hero in disguise as an uncommon hero, which just means it's cheaper to awaken him and give tomes to him because that 82% is totally worth it if you're trying to maximize your damage. You will have to use rare tomes because he doesn't have any family members that you can feed, unfortunately. So keep that in mind, but very straightforward special ability. Now let's look at the passive skill. And again, I'm going to look at the max because if you're really serious about succeeding in this contest, you're going to have to max him out. 35% chance to use his special ability twice when fighting a single enemy. So that's pretty perfect. A little bit of an RNG element there because you have just over a 1/3 chance to use his ability twice, which can cause some fluctuations in the damage. Attack is increased by 4% for every positive status affecting him. So 10 positive statuses, is 40% increase. Damage is increased by 4% for every negative status affecting the enemy. And finally, mana gain is increased by 1. So with 10 statuses on him and 10 on the enemy, you're looking at a 40% increase to attack and a 40% increase to damage. So these are obviously going to be absolutely key in maximizing his damage. Okay, so obviously there are many kinds of positive statuses and negative statuses, so let's think about which of these might be most significant. One thing I want to mention real quick is that his awakening bonus is to attack. So after we talk about some team synergy ideas, I'm going to talk about some build suggestions based on the context of this battle, so make sure you stick around for that. So there are lots of different kinds of positive statuses. One hero that comes to mind as a great pair with him is Strybog, because he gives 5 positive statuses. So you're halfway there to filling that up. Another hero that comes to mind is Aurora, or perhaps Gaffadeth, to avoid the decreased mana gain from having 3 heroes in the same color. But you're going to want to have, if possible, attack boost. If you really want to go all out, attack boost, increase critical hit chance. Well, you probably don't need that actually. Increase critical damage on him, and then just other statuses to fill up that space. But that will make the best use of the statuses on him, because you'll be gaining attack and crit damage from those. The best statuses to have on the opponent are going to be basically anything, right? You want to maximize the number of statuses there, but like increased attack and critical damage, there are some negative statuses that will yield higher damage. One of those would be decreased defense. Another one would be vulnerability. So a hero like Myra, the epic blue, I forget what family she's from. I think she's, let's see if we can find her real quick. I believe she is right here. And she's going to give, she's going to do some damage. It won't matter in this fight because all damage from heroes that are not Naderu doesn't count, but she gives 100% chance to inflict decreased defense and vulnerability. So that's going to help maximize his hit. If you can get any other statuses on there like poison, fire, decreased resistance, basically anything in addition to vulnerability and decreased defense, then you're going to be doing great. So let's go back to Naderu here. So that covers some synergy ideas for your team. It's going to depend on what heroes you have available, but that's kind of the generic recipe you're going to be looking at. How can you increase his critical hit damage and attack? How can you decrease the defense and add vulnerability to the opponent? Always trying to have 10 positive statuses on you and 10 negative statuses on the boss. So let's talk about suggestions for building this hero with equipment, because that is going to be essential as well. We have a special skill based on attack. So his attack stat is going to be very important. Additionally, critical damage is going to be very important as well. A lot of people tend to want to go really high with attack, 5,500, 6,000, which is good, and that does help the gem damage. But critical damage, I think, is more valuable once you've hit a crit rate of 100 in this case. So you want to definitely be like over, I think 3,500 or 4,000 attack is when you get sort of into this sweet spot. And at that point, critical damage starts to become more valuable. So I wouldn't recommend going, 5,800 attack and then having a crit damage of only 120 or something. Obviously, both of them as high as possible is a good goal, but I think crit damage is a bit more valuable once you get into the upper ends of those spectrums. So in terms of crit rate, because you're fighting a colorless boss, you don't need to have any crit rate over 100%. You do want to have, as close to 100% as possible. You could go a tiny bit less if you really have to. It just means there's a small chance that you won't hit criticals, and if you're trying to do maximum damage, you want to be hitting a critical hit every single time. So in terms of what sets I would suggest, there's all the usual suspects, you know, the increased attack, increased critical damage, increased crit rate, depending. It really comes down to the pieces that you have, and what you're aiming for is what are these numbers going to look like after you're done. I'd say at minimum you want to have 100% crit rate. Crit damage of 150 would be on the low end. If you can get closer to 200, which is a big goal, keep that in mind, that'll be even better. I wouldn't worry so much about mana gain because you do have the ability to bring potions with you into battle, so it's less critical. You do get a mana gain of 1 from the passive, but that means you would need 4 pieces from the caster set just to get him to a mana gain of 20, and I don't personally think that would be worth it. I think you're much better off going for high damage. So get the set bonuses if you can, but one of my best heroes, Arthur, has only 1 set bonus on him, and it's just a 2 artifact set bonus. So they're not essential for getting really good stats. What's essential is having really good gear with great substats and good rolls on those substats where you spec into the same category 3 times or something, and you can add a lot of crit rate. If you can find substats with a lot of attack and crit rate, and that will allow you to get away with putting crit damage gloves, that would be best. And if you're serious about this contest, I would recommend putting your best gear on them. You can always take it off later, but there's going to be some stiff competition, so you're going to want to really give it your all here. And that's going to involve bringing potions with you, figuring out what's the best way to use your 4 potion slots based on how your team works and what it needs, all that kind of stuff. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to mention. We talked about some suggestions, excuse me, some suggestions for how to build his equipment, team synergies for granting positive statuses and making those count the most. I guess we didn't talk about Dragon. So one thing that I'm not sure of at this point, which will be pretty easy to figure out for you guys, is the boss can heal. Maybe let's look at that real quick. So the boss is dealing 125% attack and 20% of target's max HP to all enemies. So healing is going to be necessary. I think because statuses are so important on the boss that you're going to want to go with the red dragon to make sure you land as many of those as possible. And that also adds a couple statuses. So I think that's going to be good. The one thing I don't know that I mentioned is heals herself to full at the start of the turn. Does that impact the damage that you've done? I don't think so. I think it just keeps her alive for a long time. So obviously the longer you can live, the more damage you can do because there's no timer on this. However, attack is increased by 75% of its base value each turn. So that is putting a timer of sorts on the battle. So if you can decrease her speed, for example, as one of the negative statuses, if you can decrease her attack, that's probably going to help you survive as well. So those will have double bonuses in that they're increasing the damage that you're dealing and they're adding to your survivability at the same time. So keep those kinds of things in mind as well. And yeah, she's going to be removing positive statuses from enemies and removing negative statuses from herself. However, she's immune to stun, sleep, freeze, and silence, so there's no chance to sort of stun lock her. So you're going to have to go the usual way here. And yeah, I think that covers it. If you have any suggestions that you want to give, I understand if you want to play your cards close to your chest since this is a competition, but if there is any information that I presented here that you want to correct or add to, feel free to do that in the comments down below. Make sure to participate in this contest that has really great prizes, and every day they're giving away, I think, multiple $50 gift cards to people that have the biggest improved score as well. So a lot of incentives here. I think it's really cool that they're doing this to engage their existing community of players. That's not something that we see very often in games. So I'm very happy to be seeing that. And I think this is a hero that will be usable in other aspects of the game. Even though he's an uncommon, once you level him up to 6 stars and put some good gear and stuff, you have a very hard hitter and the ability to increase that with the team that you build around him. So yeah, that's that. Hopefully this was helpful. leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Please hit that like button and subscribe, and just give a comment on there as well saying thank you to Gemstone Legends. I think it's important that we show our appreciation for them engaging their players in these contests. You know, it's not really something that they have to do. I think it's a great thing for them to do, but I think it's good if we reciprocate that appreciation as a community and, you know, hopefully contribute towards a very positive development team and player community relationship. I think that's something that really suffered in Empires and Puzzles, and it doesn't have to be that way. So positive reinforcement all around, and hopefully we can see a lot more of these types of contests in the future. And yeah, just makes me happy. So share your thoughts in the comments down below. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.